Welcome back to the channel. My name is Chris and I'm a gorilla in the wrist. Today we're looking at this Militado ML10 and asking, maybe rather controversially, whether an Englishman can ever truly love a watch designed by the Luftwaffe. Let's get into it. So today we're taking a look at this Militado ML10, which I picked up on AliExpress for the princely sum of £45 just before Christmas. It's a watch that homages a fairly significant and long-standing watch, a pilot watch, a Fliegr pilot watch. So we're going to do a quick run around the watch first of all, and then we'll get into the detailed specifications. So it's a 36mm dial. The lug-to-lug is 44mm, so whilst it's a smallish dial, it does wear quite well. It has 18mm lugs, which is entirely appropriate for a 36mm watch. It houses the Seiko VH31 movement, and therefore it is quite thin. This one comes in at 9mm. It also has an odd sandblasted effect. A little bit like what you would see on sort of the Seiko SNK, and something that does give it a little bit of the appearance of titanium, but it isn't. This is stainless steel. It has a fairly decent flat sapphire crystal. He says, I'm conscious the light's bouncing off of it at the moment, but it has a decent sapphire crystal. And it has an onion crown. It's an unbranded crown, but it is substantial, which is part of the heritage of this style of watch. So this comes in at just over 6mm. This watch came on a NATO strap. I give them credit for the fact that the furniture on it does match that sandblasted effect, which I think is quite impressive at this price point. And in terms of the dial, doesn't take long to describe it really. So what you have is a Fliegr Type A dial. We have a minute track all the way around the outside. We have indicators, hourly indicators. We have Arabic numerals all the way around. We have a triangle at the top with a little dot, so that you can tell which way your plane is up if you're a pilot. It has fairly simple, I would say, cathedral style hands, which have a light coating of blue. You kind of see it there. And again, that was very traditional for the style of watch. No day or date complication on this, but it does have a Mecha Quartz VH31 movement, and therefore we do have a nice sweeping second hand, which I think works really well. But this is a simple watch. That's about as much as there is to tell you. I was going to show you the back of the watch, but there's no point. There is nothing on it at all. And in terms of the dial, doesn't take long to describe it really. So what you have is a Fliegr Type A dial. We have a minute track all the way around the outside. We have indicators, hourly indicators. We have Arabic numerals all the way around. We have a triangle at the top with a little dot, so that you can tell which way your plane is up if you're a pilot. It has fairly simple, I would say, cathedral style hands, which have a light coating of blue. You kind of see it there. And again, that was very traditional for the style of watch. No day or date complication on this, but it does have a Mecha Quartz VH31 movement, and therefore we do have a nice sweeping second hand, which I think works really well. But this is a simple watch. That's about as much as there is to tell you. So we're going to get into the detailed specifications now. So let's walk quickly through the detailed specifications for this watch. So we have a 36mm dial width, but a very reasonable lug-to-lug at 44. Slightly small for a gorilla, 18mm for the lug width itself, but a nice thin watch at 9mm. This houses the Seiko VH31 movement, weighs in a fairly short 70 grams, has 100 metres of water resistance and a sapphire crystal. So let's get to the things that I'm not necessarily a big fan of for this watch. And there aren't many, actually. So I'll start off with a sort of slightly strange one, but the size of it at 36 millimeters. So it does work. But the watch that this was homaging was much bigger than that. Significantly bigger than that. And it was intended to be worn over the outside of the jacket sleeve of a fighter pilot's coat, and therefore they were much bigger. And the downside of reducing this to this size is it works well on a bare wrist. It's absolutely fine, but it does make the NATO strap really well. It just doesn't work as far as I'm concerned. So the credit for actually matching the furniture to the case finishing, absolutely. But it doesn't work on this NATO strap, I don't think. And that's a problem because historically they were never done on NATO straps. They were always on leather straps, a leather pilot strap, which had two studs either side of the lugs. Again, just to give you a sort of visual clue to it. And I just think on this NATO, it makes it ridiculously thick and almost unwearable. And the gap you get, I'm not going to put it on, but you do get this really odd gap between the lugs, the strap coming up and going through. It just really doesn't work. And so for me, because it's 18 millimeters as well, and I don't have many 18 millimeter straps, I had to go and find something a bit different, which is what I've done. So I'm going to put it on what I found, and then you can let me know what you think. But this was the best that I can do. So up it goes. So yes, what I've swapped it out for is a elasticated Marine and National type strap. And before you all shout at me and tell me that that's as historically inaccurate as the NATO strap, you are absolutely right. Of course it is. I'm not suggesting that they were worn on these. However, what it does do is it does make the watch wearable. So you don't end up with those ridiculous bulges under the lugs once you've got it on. And it is remarkably comfortable. And I do tend to think of the Marine National as a military type style strap. And therefore sticking it on a pilot's watch doesn't feel unreasonable to me. So it has the wearability and the practicality as well. And that, I think, gets you around the problem with the strap. So I'm now going to get into the things I like about this watch. And there's a lot to be said for this one. I really like it. I think they've done an excellent job. I'll start off with the loom. So you will have seen the loom shot. I think for 45 quid, that's possibly the best loom I've ever seen on a budget watch. You will have seen as it slowed down, it does start to degrade. But I can confirm that it does meet the 5 a.m. test. So I have put this watch back on my wrist after a full night in the dark to find that I could read the time on it. The next thing that I really like about it, and I don't know if I can credit Militado with this, but they've done a decent job, is just the absolute clarity of this. This is not a step counter. This doesn't know what time it is in Brazil. There's a lot of things this watch doesn't do. But what it really does is it delivers a very visually clear time. There is no point when you are wearing this watch that you do not know what the time is. It just has that absolute clarity. works really, really well. But the aesthetic is so simple, but also effective. It's functional. There's never a problem with it. I'd like it a bit bigger, so I would like a 38 or a 40mm version of it. But this is very good as it stands. And then the last thing I really enjoyed about it is the fact that it is a proper budget watch, but does have the sort of specifications that you really need. So it's got 100 meters of water resistance. I'm always worried about pilots' watches that have 100 meters of water resistance, but it's part of my strange obsessions for the moment. But you're getting sapphire crystal, you're getting a sandblasted case, which is really, really well done. You're getting that massive onion pilot crown. Again, it's very grippy, very practical, and it just really works. I think for this price, particularly stuck on a decent strap, and I would love to put it on a leather pilot strap, but I suspect I won't get one that fits a gorilla's wrist. So I'm going to wrap this one up. So I think I originally set out by asking the question, could an Englishman ever love a watch designed by the Luftwaffe? I think the answer to that is, I think you can appreciate this, the design of this, and that you can do that without necessarily subscribing to somebody else's views. We are grown-ups after all. For me, at £45, this is an absolute bargain. I really do wish there was a 38 or 40mm version on there. There may well be that I've just not seen yet. But a little bit bigger would have been fine. But apart from that, this is a wonderful, wonderful watch. So that's it for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Please like, subscribe and comment. I'm always pleased to hear what you think. I'm particularly interested in your views on my choice of replacement strap. I would love to hear what you would suggest. So please just stick your comment in the box and I will talk to you about it. Still tons more stuff to come over the next couple of weeks, but it's coming up on 4 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon. It's cold and miserable and grey, so I hope it's nicer wherever the hell you are. And enjoy the rest of the weekend as it stands. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.